Blog Talk Radio.
Now, get up out your seats. Coming to the ring. Now, but I'm wondering if you can bring in with one win, no losses, undefeated in the streets, weighing in over 300 pounds. IHWE Radio. When the round bell is ringing in the ring, then I'll be singing. I'm here to get that crowd loud. I'm wondering if you can bring it. When the round bell is ringing in the ring, then I'll be singing. But I'm here to get that crowd loud. But I'm wondering if you can bring it. When the round bell is ringing in the ring, then I'll be singing. I'm here to get that crowd loud. But I'm wondering if you can bring it. When the round bell is ringing in the ring, then I'll be singing. But I'm here to get that crowd loud. But I'm wondering if you can bring it.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a raucous, loaded-up edition of IHWE Radio on a landmark night for insane, hardcore wrestling entertainment. I went there. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a landmark night. Tonight at 10 p.m. Central, the season premiere, worldwide, the very first edition of IHWE TV. And we've got a landmark night right here for you on IHWE Radio tonight. It is going to be awesome. Let's get right into the fire. Joining me tonight, this is my last night, welcoming you to IHWE Radio as a co-host. We have making some changes. It's for the better. We're going to talk more about that in the second hour tonight. But we got a loaded show, so we're going to get rocking and rolling. Joining me, as always, is my trusty partner in crime. If we're the dynamic duo, he may say he's Batman, but he thinks more like Robin, even though if you look at us, I have the size of Robin and he's Batman. Michael McCurdy out in California. How's it going tonight?
It's going pretty good, man, but I got to say, I think Robin might actually be a little bigger than you, but we'll let you be Batman tonight, okay? I'll be the sidekick.
That's all right. Joining us on the line is a Southern Wrestling Hall of Famer. He has called matches for almost every major promotion in Texas in the last over decade. He's worked for Smoky Mountain Wrestling. He's done several jobs over the years for different wrestling organizations. He loves professional wrestling. He's a wonderful man, and he's the best play-by-play man in the business today as far as I'm concerned. He is Mr. Rob Moore. Rob, thank you for joining us.
Oh, you guys are going to give me a swell head saying all that good stuff about me.
Well, Rob, it's the truth. I've worked with you for a number of years, and, you're the guy that everybody goes to make moments bigger. So.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that, David.
Well, before we talk to Rob about IHWE TV, which we're getting you ready for tonight, go to youtube.com/IHWE2009. Subscribe to that channel on whatever device you have YouTube on, or go to IHWEnow.com at 10 o'clock right after this show tonight and watch IHWE TV. Let's get those live numbers up. Let's make history tonight, ladies and gentlemen. We have a lot of announcements tonight, and we're going to right out of the chute. We're going to kick it off with one. Over the last several months, I've been working with Michael and Michael's partner, Joe Sousa. Michael and Joe's been around for a long time and has done different jobs as professional wrestler. We're going to talk more about that later on. But Michael and Joe promote. They promote live events. They did one this year in Eureka, California that was very successful. They ran into some hard times early on, and I worked with them to ensure, along with some other people, that the event was pulled off. Over the past several months, me and Michael have become extremely close, and we work really well together. And I am extremely proud to announce that as far as live events go, starting today, live events will start next year. But as far as today, right now, that IHWE is now not only a Texas brand of professional wrestling, but we are proud that Michael and Joe are the IHWE affiliate in California. So starting in 2015, you will get to see IHWE action live in California as well as Texas. I'm extremely proud. I'm excited. Now, IHWE has representation in the two largest states in the United States of America. Michael, what do you got to say, man?
I got to say that I am very proud, as always, to be a part of the IHWE team, and I am especially proud to help found IHWE California. As you said, live events will begin in 2015. We're talking now with the building managers and all that, president of the board. We're going to get all that arranged. As soon as we have more information, obviously we will have that here on IHWE Radio. At this time, it's going to be an annual event. In our area, annual events are the best, but we are going to promote some great wrestling action. I like to say IHWE California is bringing the best of the West Coast and blending that with the tradition of Texas wrestling. We're going to make IHWE proud. We're going to bring the tradition of Texas wrestling to California, and also we're going to take California, we're going to bring it over to Texas. I think people are going to enjoy what's coming up.
Yeah, we're going to be doing some talent integration. Texas talents are going to be in California. It's going to be really cool. There's going to be a lot of talent sharing. We've got a lot of good things coming up, ladies and gentlemen. So California, you California wrestling fans, you can enjoy IHWE TV and kill 2015 until IHWE is right there on the West Coast. First time ever, I'm excited. Rob, man, that's big news. California has a great wrestling history, and now IHWE is going to be right there with it.
Oh, absolutely. You know, you look at the history of California wrestling and promoters like Roy Shire in San Francisco and the LaBelle family in Los Angeles at the world-famous Olympic Auditorium. That's really something to look forward to, carrying on the legacy of professional wrestling in California as well as in Texas. So what it sounds like to me is you've got the main IHWE banner with a couple of territories, and hopefully it's not going to stop there.
Indeed. Well, Rob, we're going to talk about IHWE TV. You, over the years, of course, you were fans of World Class Championship Wrestling, who had major television here in North Texas, 2 television stations, Channel 11 and Channel 39. That was so powerful they had to have 2 different shows. You've worked over the years for PCW, Professional Championship Wrestling out of Arlington, had a weekly show on UPN at Channel 21. I believe it's now TXA 21. And you worked for XCW, which had a MAV TV deal. You also worked for Ken Taylor in W Southwest, who was on KLDT Channel 55 down here. And now IHWE TV has begun. It's a little bit different. It's not your traditional wrestling show on a TV station. It's every Wednesday night, but now we've kind of gone a step further, and now we're on YouTube, which makes it worldwide now. We don't really have to follow the standards and practices of, the FCC as far as time constraints, and it's a PG program. Anybody can watch it. We want families to gather up and watch it. But now with all the, with all the gadgets out there that you can watch YouTube on, cell phones, gaming consoles, if you've got certain televisions, you can download the app and watch YouTube videos on your TV. What did it mean? You were there on June 8th when we taped all this. Tell us about your experience at the Sendera Center. Tell us what the fans can expect, and tell us what you think about this new concept as far as bringing wrestling from this territory worldwide.
Well, of course, as you mentioned, I've been on a few televised wrestling programs over the last 15 years, and before that, my memories of professional wrestling go all the way back to when I was a kid watching Fritz von Erich on a black and white TV on Saturday nights. I actually remember black and white TV when they would run on Channel 11 from the Northside Coliseum, which, of course, is now the Cowtown Coliseum. And you mentioned Channel 39. That was the flagship station of the trend-setting World Class Championship Wrestling from the Sportatorium. And that just led the way in televised professional wrestling and set the table, as it were, for those programs that I appeared on as the play-by-play announcer, as you said, NWA Southwest, PCW, XCW, and of course I've just finished up a 3+ year run working for Killer Tim Brooks at NAWA Big Time Pro Wrestling, even though that was not on TV. there was still a monthly production for DVD, and for a while it was on YouTube as well. So we had those outlets at that promotion. But now, of course, you talk about the technology, you talk about cell phones, smartphones, you talk about tablets, PCs, laptops, and whatnot, and the worldwide access of YouTube. So that is going to spread the gospel, so to speak, of IHWE far and wide. And I think we're off to a good start with the shows that we taped at the Sendera Center in Fort Worth. We had a full house for that program. We taped, I think we taped 6 programs that are going to end up airing on YouTube. And we have some more tapings coming up, including, of course, the big show in September, which I'm personally really looking forward to for several particular reasons. But I'm really looking forward to being on YouTube with IHWE, and I hope that wrestling fans worldwide will be looking forward to it as well.
What was it like for you working with Craig Johnson? Craig was on our show a few weeks ago, right after the Q&A show. He has to come in and be a guest for the Terry Gordy Battle Royal. And, Craig, I love Craig because Craig showed up and said, I'll do whatever you want me to. And I had the idea, much like what we talked about was going to happen in September, Rob, which we will share that later on as the year progresses. But I had the idea of you and Craig sitting next to one another because I really do feel like you're the guy now that years ago it was Bill Mercer, it was Mark Lawrence, it was Craig Johnson, it was Dole King. You've been the guy. I mean, no disrespect to Richard Hunter, no disrespect to Johnny Key. He works with us. He's our editor and our director of our digital media. But I think you're the guy. So my thing is putting you with people like that. You got to work with Craig Johnson and call it the Terry Gordy Battle Royal. I've listened to it. It's fantastic, the way y'all go back and forth. I know it was tough because Craig's a play-by-play guy. So are you. I put 2 play-by-play guys together. But I think Craig did a really good job with the color commentary.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate that. And, I've worked with a lot of guys over the past 15 years, a lot of color commentators, with the local promotions, and I've just had a great time with them. But getting to work with Craig Johnson was something different. As you mentioned, he and I got to call the Terry Gordy Memorial Battle Royal at the last IHWE show at the Sendera Center in Fort Worth. And for me, it was something of a dream come true because what I finally got to do in my career was work with someone who's been there and done that, someone who has maybe not the big time, we're not talking about WWE here, but someone who has been on the national scene, USWA and GWF, being on ESPN, that's pretty big, that's pretty national. But Craig Johnson, who I always liked, I always thought he was very good on the microphone, very knowledgeable, and communicated well with the fans. I mean, when I was watching Global on ESPN more than 20 years ago, never in my wildest dreams did I think that I would get to call a wrestling match alongside Craig Johnson. But I got to do that, and David, I appreciate you setting that up, and I just had a great time. Craig Johnson, he's a great professional. I saw how he went around the dressing room before the card, talking to the wrestlers, getting information from them, something sort of like I do, so I could kind of relate to that. But it was so great to be able to watch Craig work and be able to sit right next to him and call the match. And, I'm really looking forward to watching that particular episode of IHWE TV and seeing for myself how it all turned out. I think we did a good job. Craig, of course, was fantastic.
Oh, yes. What was it like? You worked with Matt Avery in XCW and over the years, and Matt is a guy who loves to put his finger on the trigger, and he likes to dangle his finger over the trigger. He has a tendency to get under everybody's skin. It had been a few years since you worked with Matt. What was it like working with Matt Avery again?
I tell you what, Matt Avery is the kind of guy who pushes a lot of buttons. And when I was with XCW, the 6 months that I was with XCW in Denton, he managed to push my buttons a few times. But he's very good at his job, And up until a few days ago, I was ready to call him the Jesse Ventura of Texas wrestling, but that's got a whole new connotation right
Correct.
now. So yeah, let's just leave that by the wayside. But
maybe the John Layfield of Texas.
Perhaps so, or maybe the Roddy Piper of Texas. Maybe even the Jim Cornette of Texas, you know. But
until September 28th, Jim Cornette may have something to say about that in September.
Well, that's something I'm really looking forward to. But yeah, it was absolutely great working with Matt Avery and with Johnny T again as well. Both of them did a fantastic job.
We've heard, sometimes matches take on a life and a story of their own. And there's one match. Every match was great that night, don't get me wrong. And you got to watch every week of IHWE TV because you never know what you're going to see. I mean, Jim Cornette's even going to be on IHWE TV before he even gets there. So you just never know. But there's one match that really, there was the DFW title triple threat match, which was awesome. So every match was great. But a lot of people are talking about Johnny Gargano and Thomas Shire. Where you were sitting, Johnny Gargano comes down here for the very first time, which is amazing in itself that this guy has never even been here. And he comes down. The Fort Worth fans, the Dallas Fort Worth fans don't know of him. And this is not the East Coast. This is not the West Coast. This is a completely different ball game. Johnny Gargano came in here, and he got a response out of that audience that people in this market, in this territory, are not used to saying. I'm not saying that because it was my show. I'm saying it because it was the truth. Your thoughts?
Well, my thoughts were that was one heck of a match between him and Thomas Shire. I mean, both of them just, you talk about Johnny Gargano not exactly being a known quantity with the fans. Some people probably weren't really familiar with Thomas Shire either. But both of those guys went out to the ring that night, and they put on one heck of a match. They pulled out some moves that were just absolutely incredible. And you just never know where talent's going to come from because you can take it. These guys showed how good they are because they were able to go out into the ring, and not many people really knew who they were. And by the time it was over, they just tore the house down. It was the match of the night as far as I'm concerned, and I'm sure a lot of people felt the same way. And I'm just looking forward to something similar to that coming up at the September show because I believe we've got some other wrestlers coming in from outside of the Texas territory who are going to be in that ring.
Yes, the current Ring of Honor Tag Team Champion and the PWG Heavyweight Champion, Kyle O'Reilly. He's going to wrestle Matt Fixit. I know Matt Fixit has been saying he's retired, but I talked to Matt. He's going to honor his commitment. He will be here. That's going to be spectacular. So that should be good. We're going to go ahead and is there anything you want to plug, promote, where people can find you? We're going to go ahead and get to our next guest. But Rob, you got the floor. If there's anything you want to push or promote, go right ahead, sir.
Okay, well, of course, I have a Facebook page, facebook.com/RobMooreTexas. So if you want to find out just what the heck I'm doing, you can go to that page. I'm on Twitter as well. RobMoore1961 is my Twitter name, Twitter handle, whatever you want to call it. And, of course, I'm here and there all over the place. Of course, I work in radio in Greenville, Texas, and you can, if you're in the area, you can listen to me on 105.9 FM, 1400 AM, and 93.5 FM. So I'm pretty much all over the place there as well. But, guys, I appreciate you having me on tonight, and I'm looking forward to the other great guests that you're going to have on. And, of course, September 28th, Jim Cornette coming in, Stan Hansen, Barbara Goodish, Bill Anderson, and so many others are going to be a part of it. I understand you've got another announcement concerning that a little bit later on, and I know what that announcement is, and I think it's absolutely great. People are going to love it, especially those who've been fans for a while. So I think it's going to be really great. And I'm, once again, looking forward to Jim Cornette coming in because I'm one of the biggest Cornette fans there is. I'll admit that right now. But I'm looking forward to seeing him again because I've worked on shows with him a couple of times before, and it's just going to be great. I can't wait.
All right, Rob. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for all the years of loyalty to IHWE, and I will see you in September, sir. Thank you.
All right, thank you, and thank you, Michael, as well.
Thank you, Rob.
Bye-bye, Rob. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was Southern Wrestling Hall of Famer Rob Moore. And you will pardon me for a second. I'm going to get our next guest on here. It's live radio. Anything can happen. Michael, go ahead and talk while I get our next guest on here, please.
Oh, we always love live radio. I've been checking out the social media pages and all that, and already the IHWE California announcement is getting a lot of interest from people. I posted a message just a few minutes ago. Due to my location, IHWE California will also be working with independent wrestlers from the Pacific Northwest territory, which everyone knows, Don Owens and all that. So we're going to have the best of just many territories coming through for IHWE California. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm also looking forward to hearing from our... We're ringing.
And we will talk more about that here in a little while. Hopefully our caller answers. I did tell her we were calling.
Hello?
Sarah.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, this is David. You're on IHWE Radio. Ladies and gentlemen, this is radio personality from the Lex and Terry Show. She was the host of our June 8th show back at the Bear Center. Welcome, Sarah Morgan, to IHWE Radio. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, thank you for having me.
No problem. Michael, this is Sarah. You will probably meet her in September.
Sounds good to me. Thank you for joining us tonight, Sarah.
No problem. Thank you guys for having me. Nice to meet you.
Well, Sarah, you've been to a lot of major wrestling events. You've had WWE superstars on your syndicated radio show, Lex and Terry. You went to WrestleMania this past year. You've been involved with XCW and done a few of the local shows. What was it like being IHWE TV is going to premiere tonight at 10 o'clock on our YouTube channel, and it's going to be 6 shows that were all taped back on June 8th. You were there for the show. What were your thoughts on the event back in June?
Well, everybody is going to be, in for a treat for sure with these videos because, I was there to host and work, but it was so hard to even, realize that I'm there to actually do something because I was just wanting to watch the whole time. From start to finish, it was 100% energy. From everyone, it was just a really great show. People loved it. Everyone was into it. It was just, people are going to love to see it. It was something you don't want to miss at all.
What do you think of how we're doing it? We're not doing it on a standard television channel. We're doing it on YouTube. And you're a gamer and you like to watch. You're probably a Hulu person or a Netflix person. This is kind of along the same lines now that YouTube is available on so many different platforms. Now anybody can pull up YouTube at any time on any number of different platforms, anywhere in the world, and watch videos. What do you think? Do you think that's a big advantage, the way we're doing it, as opposed to airing it, say, at 1:30 in the morning when only the unemployed and zombies are awake, like me, or somebody who has a newborn kid like me, and you have to DVR it? What do you think about us doing it the way we are on YouTube?
I definitely think it's a good thing. That's really the way people take in everything anymore. Social media as a whole, people using Twitter, Facebook, Instagram all the time, and YouTube, Netflix, Hulu. That's all the big thing now. You see so many people now that don't even have cable. DVDs are even out pretty much now, going out of style in a way. Everything is really online now, and YouTube is huge. They're starting, to have shows and concerts and just huge events there. That is the new platform. So I think with you guys doing that and, evolving with everything else, I think that's a very smart thing. And, I think the audience is going to grow quickly, especially when they see the content. They're going to love it. And, I think it's going to be a really great thing, a really big thing.
Did you have a favorite match from the June 8th show? Was there something that stuck out more than anything?
It's hard to say because like everything was just so good. I have to say, watching you get thrown out of the ring was a little exciting. I was worried about you, but that was fun.
No, that's all right. That's all right. I plan on trying to get some sort of retribution in September. Matt Rivera's not going to be back until then. Matty Rivers, Matt Rivera, whatever you want to call him. He'll be back in September. So hopefully, Sarah will be, you're going to be participating in the first ever anti-bullying assembly on August 30th. What does that mean to you being a part of that?
When you asked me, I was all in, because that's just something that really touches me. You know, I was bullied like I think so many other people were, you know, I think everybody has been really, at least just a little bit, but I mean, I still remember all the things that used to happen to me very clearly, and I don't know, it just, when I hear of a kid getting tormented or bullied, it just, like, really, really angers me. So I always want to, you know, step out and help any way I can, and, you know, just giving kids an outlet or, you know, letting them know what they can do, who they can run to, just anything I can do to help to prevent, you know, because I just know the feeling of how it was. So to help out any way I can would be just really great.
Awesome. Well, Sarah, I know you've got a lot going on. I want to thank you for your time. Let people know where they can find you via social media, and you have the floor right now.
Okay. If you want to follow me on Twitter, I use that quite often. It's at Sarah B. Morgan. My Facebook page is facebook.com/the Sarah B. Morgan. And my Instagram, which I'm using more than ever right now because I just discovered it a few weeks ago and I'm a little obsessed. It's at Morgan B. Sarah. So follow me on there. I love talking to people, and, reach out to me. I'd love to hear from you guys.
Awesome. And you can find Sarah at future IHWE events for sure. She's a huge supporter of what we do, and we're lucky to have her on. And you can listen to her every morning on the Lex and Terry show if you're in the area where it's syndicated. It's all over the country. So if you happen to get Lex and Terry where you are, listen to it because you'll hear Sarah every morning. So, yay.
Well, thank you guys so much for having me on. I really appreciate it.
All right, Sarah. Thank you. Have a good night, Sarah. Thank you.
You too. Good luck. Bye.
Okay. All right, that was Sarah Morgan.
That was some enthusiasm, buddy.
She was the host of the IHWE Experience, and I believe we have another caller. I'm going to go ahead and make a guess because I formatted this thing, so I should know who's calling in next. I believe we have Too Much Metal Gregory James on the line. Am I correct? Okay. Not 469 area code. You're on the air.
Hello?
Yes, who's calling? Yes.
This is Max. Max Muscles.
Oh, hey, what's up, buddy? How are you?
Oh, I'm fine. I saw your post on Facebook. I thought I'd call, say hey. Hey, and I am one of those guys that hangs out at 1:30 in the morning watching YouTube. I'm a zombie.
But you're employed. You do something every day for money.
Yeah, but it's not that. It's called not having any kind of a love life. You know, 1:30 in the morning on definitely YouTube.
Max is the brother of Southern Wrestling Hall of Famer Ravishing Ray Evans. So
yeah.
That's to Max Muscles, and he's wrestled in the area for years.
That's what Mama told us.
How are things going?
Oh, going good. I'm working a lot, a regular job, and just wrestling around the area here. I'm hopefully getting back down to Houston and Beaumont pretty soon, hopefully. But
a lot of good things going on down there.
Yeah, I work for Jared Steele at PWA in Houston and for a Hurricane Pro in Beaumont. And up here, it's, working in TWA and Mineral Wells and stuff like that, so. Star Wrestling Federation out in Seagoville. So just staying busy. I just thought I'd call in and say hello and see how you were doing. How's the kid?
He's growing. He'll be bigger than me in just a matter of weeks. That's not saying a whole lot, but
is that before or after you flexed?
Well, Max, we'll have to get you on sometime. And hey, when our shows are, you're always welcome to come out and say hi to the boys, and I'd love to see you anytime. It was a pleasure to see you at the Hall of Fame. And we go way back, and big fan of yours and your family. So anytime there's a show, man, and you got nothing going on, come on out and say hey.
Have a good one.
All right, Max. Take care. Bye-bye.
Yes, sir.
All right. Area code 972. Is this too much metal, Gregory James?
Yes, it is.
Okay, I got it right. You were Max Muscles earlier. Man. I was going to ask you what the hell happened.
Is he like Mick Foley? Is he like many faces of here or something? He's Max Muscle.
Yeah.
Gregory James. Wow.
No. Gregory would have to. Max, nothing. Max he's very lovable and he's very fluffy, and Gregory's the exact opposite. So
and go see
there's people that love him. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying about the fluffy part. Gregory's in retarded, ridiculous shape. So anyway, he lives at the gym. Gregory, you were a combatant in a triple threat match for the DFW title. It was your first IHWE event, live wrestling. What was it like in that building with that energy on that show? What was it like?
Man, it was a great experience. The building was great. The fans were amazing. The match, I had never really gotten to work with Americos or Ashton, and I was going into it. I was super excited because it was a new opportunity, a new crowd, a new promotion that I had never got to work for before. But I was very thrilled to be there.
What can people expect when they tune in every week and watch IHWE TV? It's a new concept. Well, it's not new. It's just something that's being done at television, but on YouTube, which that's where everything's going these days. Sarah just said it. You got Hulu, you got Netflix, obviously the WWE Network. We're not coming out saying it's over the top.
Right.
It's not necessarily a streaming service, but you can stream videos on YouTube through many different platforms these days, as opposed to the old school wrestling program that came on sometimes in the middle of the night on the weekend, or the wrestling show that came on Saturday or Sunday mornings. What do fans expect, and what do you think? What do you think of that?
What do I think IHWE is going to bring?
Yes.
I think it's going to bring people. It's going to open their eyes to a little bit of independent wrestling here in the Texas scene. You got guys like myself, Americos. You got some of the veterans that have been here for a while as well. You know, you got Franco D'Angelo. You got Tim Storm, Mike Fox. The names go on, and I think they're going to get to see a lot of different talent, some high flyers and some heavy brawlers.
Not to give away anything, but there's a rematch on August 30th, 2 out of 3 falls, triple threat.
Right.
You are going through a rigorous training regimen to get ready for that. You also wrestle all over the country. Every weekend he's somewhere, ladies. You're going through rigorous training to get ready for that. You looking to go in there and once again make history?
Oh, definitely. I'm going in with the intent of walking away with a victory this time, though. But the training regimen, I have been hitting the gym a little bit harder than normal. Don't necessarily live there, but I visit at least daily. And I'm just making sure that I'm ready to make history, like you said, and to put on one of the best matches that I could possibly put on.
One more question. What's it going to be like on September 28th? You're on the card. Haven't figured out who you're wrestling yet, but a lot of that's going to depend on August 30th. You're on the card. What's it going to be like wrestling with Stan Hansen on the card and Jim Cornette there? You're an old school wrestling guy who happens to be a little young, but I know you respect the veterans of this business and you love this business. So what's it like for you knowing those two guys are going to be there?
I am an old school wrestling fan, and I think that I'll be able to do something that I haven't done and maybe open some eyes, hopefully, to some of the veterans and some of the rest of the country. Actually, I'd like to find myself in more states, and I think wrestling in front of these two gentlemen is going to put a little bit of pride on me for allowing myself, for being allowed by you and by these guys to be witnessed. And I've grown up, like you said, as an old school wrestling fan. These are some of the people that I've watched, and to be in that ring and have their eyes on me this time, that's an amazing feeling.
Well, it's very well earned, Gregory. I've watched you since you broke into the business, and like I said, there's some talent that sometimes you keep your eye on, and you wait, and you wait, and you wait, and you know one day you're going to work, and you were one of the guys that I was like, okay, when time is right, and IHWE makes its return, I had my eye on you the whole time. So,
well, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
No problem. Well, where can people find you? Obviously, you're wrestling all over the country. Do you have any social media platforms that you want to give out? You have the floor.
I am wrestling. Oh, gosh, August is a very busy month. But if you're wanting to find more information about me, you can always find me on Facebook, just facebook.com. Search up Gregory James. I'm on Instagram, The Holy Diver. But if you live anywhere in the Texas area or even in Louisiana, I should be in your area some weekend very close, because I think it's almost every single weekend of August I am in the car, on the road, living the dream with the boys.
Good deal. And you can see Gregory on particular nights on IHWE TV starting tonight at 10 p.m. Gregory steps in the ring with Americos and Ashton Jacobs in a triple threat match for the DFW Championship. All three of these guys are going to be bigger stars in better places in the years to come. I know it. So, Gregory, I want to thank you for putting your body on the line for me and for everybody else. Thank you for your dedication, and thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you very much, sir.
No problem. Have a good one, Gregory. Thank you. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye.
All right, that was Too Much Metal, Gregory Jacobs. Michael, we got a little bit of a break here. So I know there was something that you've been itching to announce, so let's go ahead and do that.
Oh, I've been itching to announce this for days now. Proud to say that IHWE California we're hitting the ground running with this brand, and we just now recently signed the deal, got everything paid up, made all the contracts, it's all good to go. And IHWE California is proud to say that we are bringing this man back home to Texas.
Hey, folks, this is the Grappler. I'm calling you from way out in Oregon. If anybody in Texas never followed my career, which I know there's a lot of people that have, know that I've been all over the world. But you know something? There's one place I hold dear in my heart is the state of Texas. I've wrestled everywhere. I've wrestled everybody from Andre the Giant to little Tokyo the Midget. But you know something? When I come to Texas, I hold that place dear in my heart. Here's the reason why. Because maybe a lot of people don't know, I wore the mask, and I feel some parts unknown. But deep down inside, I really want to tell you where I'm from. I'm from the great state of Texas. I'm from a little town south of Fort Worth and Dallas, way down by Houston, called Cut and Shoot, Texas. But you know what? When I heard that the IHWE was holding this big show in Fort Worth on September the 28th, and they're calling it the Old School Hustle, I couldn't wait to put my name in the hat. Because I wanted to come down there and show those people what I'm all about skill. I was the Texas heavyweight champion for 1 year. When I wrestled for the Buyers and Spitfire down in Dallas, and I wrestled all over Texas, and I beat people up, and I got beaten up, I have to admit. But you know something? I can't wait to get there September 28th to the Old School Hustle, because if there's anybody who knows about old school, let me tell you something, people. It's the Grappler, okay? I've been everywhere, Maine, Spain, Spokane, and back again. 37 years in the sport of professional wrestling. I put in my time, and I promise you one thing. When you come there with me, it ain't going to be old school. It ain't going to be new school, guys. I'm fixing to take somebody to school when I come to Fort Worth, Texas, September 28th. Be ready, because I guarantee you, when the smoke clears, when I leave, They're going to be saying my famous tagline. They got a name for you when you're the greatest wrestler in wrestling today. They don't call you a great wrestler. They call you the grappler. Beat me if you can in Fort Worth, Texas.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. IHWE California is bringing the Grappler back home to Fort Worth, Texas, September 28th.
Wow. Goodness gracious, ladies and gentlemen. You heard it from the man himself, the legendary grappler, Lynn Denton, is coming back to Texas Sunday night, September 28th, and it's all brought to you by IHWE California. Wow, I am, woo! Goodness gracious, ladies and gentlemen, I have no words. First time ever, Michael, I have no words.
I can tell that. Sorry about that for a second. I had a little bit of a glitch going here. But, yeah, I'm looking forward to this. I've had a chance to meet the Grappler many times up Pacific Northwest, up Portland, Salem, and all that. Great guy, tough as nails, and if anybody at Old School Hustle decides they're going to try to get out of line, they might just find out why the Grappler says, beat me if you can, because I'm going to find out he's a tough customer.
One of the toughest. All you got to do is Google him. All you got to do is Wikipedia him. All you got to do is just, wow. Well, we have a few minutes. See, we got another caller on. We're about to get him on. I believe that is Americos. On the IHWE, both radio Facebook and the IHWE Facebook, we posted earlier the Kickstarter link for the Afterglow party that the Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling are putting on. So I just reshared that on the IHWE Facebook page. The Afterglow fan party, which is being put on by the Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling, some of them, they were on here last week and they talked about it. So if you want to go support it, make this happen. These girls want to get together again and do something really special. I've been talking to Roxy most of the week. They want to do this. They want to make this special. There's some really cool perks in there, especially if you're a great old school fan of the Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling. Get on and do this. Michael, have you seen the Kickstarter?
I've seen the Kickstarter, and I already made in my donation. I put in $50 because, I kind of like the perks I'm going to get on that one. So, and it's not a bad little deal. Just for $25 pledge, I believe it is, you get a phone call from one of the Glow Girls. The number will be blocked,
we already had that. We had like 8 of them on last week. We had 8 of them on last week. We should have been paying them.
I'm saying for the fans out listening to the show.
Oh, well, yeah, that's
true. For a $25 donation, they get a call from one of the Glow Girls. I pledged $50, and I'll talk to one of the Glow Girls.
Does that mean you get 2 phone calls?
Now you only get one, but then you also get an Afterglow t-shirt. She's an ankle biter, man. You gotta watch out for her.
Yeah, And I did talk to a couple of the Glow Girls, and they're going to be sending some footage for IHWE TV in the future. So you never know who's going to show up on IHWE TV, ladies and gentlemen. That's why you need to watch every week. Not only do you get live in-ring action, I say live, you get first run in-ring action from our taping back in June. But you never know who's going to stop by and say a few words. So tonight, you'll see it. Next week, Jim Cornette's on the show. In the future, we're going to have Lynn Denton. We're going to have Stan Hansen. We're going to have the Glow Girls. IHWE TV every week, and it doesn't cost a single penny. I want to reiterate that because I've been asked that a lot this week. People have been asking, what does it cost? It doesn't cost anything. If you have access to YouTube, all you need is some kind of Wi-Fi or internet connection. If you can get on YouTube, you can watch IHWE TV for free. There is no sign-up cost. There's no monthly recurring membership fee. It is absolutely free, ladies and gentlemen. But there is nothing like being at IHWE Live. So if you're in the area, if you're anywhere in Texas, I've heard from fans from New Orleans, I've heard from fans from Oklahoma, I've heard from fans from Houston, all major cities in Texas. They all want to be there at Old School Hustle. And we've got a contest going on tonight. If you can be the 5th caller with the password, which I posted all over social media, And, you know, it's really hard for people to call in on a Wednesday night. A lot of people are doing things that aren't affiliated with the show. We will have other opportunities to give away tickets, but there's still time tonight. So if you want to call in, IHWE Radio, you have until 10 o'clock. Be the fifth caller with the password that I've posted all over social media. Call in and win you a pair of tickets to Old School Hustle. But anyway,
can I
want to be there, and there's nothing like... No, you're already on the list of staff. I'm putting you to work. So, no.
That's right. People
but I do believe
me on IHWE TV. That may not
yes,
be a
I know. It might be, certain TV shows jump the shark. That might be the night that we jump the shark. I believe we have on the line. I believe we have on the line Americos. Americos, are you there?
Can you hear me, sir?
I can hear you. Ladies and gentlemen, the international high-flying sensation Americos has taken time out of his busy schedule, and he is on the line with us. Thank you for joining us, sir. Thank you.
Oh, well, I appreciate you having me, sir.
Michael, this is Americos.
Pleasure to meet you.
Thank God he's already... He won't be able to see much of you because he's wearing a mask. Well, that's good. Michael, you should be wearing a mask.
I could.
So, Americos, you wrestled in the Triple Threat DFW Championship match. You were a last-minute replacement for Barrett Brown. Barrett had hurt himself earlier in the day doing moonsaults, and he hyperextended his knee, I believe. And we took him to an urgent care clinic right up the road. That's a good thing about where we run at. It's not out in the middle of nowhere. There's actually places around. Took him to an urgent care clinic, and the doctor said, and I told Barrett that you've got so much ahead of you. I don't want to jeopardize putting you in this match. So you were going to be there. You were going to be there to wrestle in the Terry Gordy Battle Royal. We went ahead and put you into the mix. What was it like wrestling? It was your first time in IHWE. What was that like? And what was it like wrestling in that building?
Well, first of all, I'd heard of IHWE, and I'd always wanted to be there. So just to be there and be considered to be in the Terry Gordy Battle Royal was just an absolute blast. But then whenever you called me and told me that once I got there, I would be wrestling in the opening match for the vacant DFW championship, it was amazing. And as far as the building, man, I got there and I was blown away. It wasn't really since that was TCW status in my eyes. I debuted there, and I hadn't seen it set up that well until I got to IHWE.
What was it? We're not going to give away anything. What was it like? Fans, you want to see the outcome, you got to watch it. It's at the top of the 10 o'clock hour on YouTube, the championship match. What was it like being in the Terry Gordy Battle Royal, being in the ring with people like Thomas Shire? I know you ran into issues with that big redwood Kevin Cross. I had a hand in training that guy, so part of that could be blamed on me. I do not condone who he's running around with now, Nigel Rabbit, and his attitude. But what was it like being in there with some of those guys? Obviously, you were in there with Gregory James, and you two have history. Obviously, you wrestled each other earlier in the night. But Terry Gordy's Will was there. What was it like wrestling, knowing that, hey, this is a Hall of Famer. This is one of the greatest of all time. I know you tried your hardest in that Battle Royal, and you went head-to-head with 7-foot Kevin Cross. What was it like? What did it mean to you?
It meant the world to me just to be considered for it. It was very humbling to be in the Battle Royal and to be in there with some of the top talent in the state, if not the whole country. And then, like you said, ran into Kevin Cross, and I guess I can partially blame you for that, so I got to hold you to that a little bit. But, the 7-foot Kevin Cross was certainly a force to be dealt with, and, of course, Thomas Shire and Gregory James, just all these guys. You've got all this talent at your disposal, and just to have them all in one ring at the same time for what it was just an amazing experience.
You actually were involved in another match that night. You teamed up with Seshai to battle the Empire, who, no stranger to you. You actually had a run-in with them during the 49th annual Cauliflower Alley Club reunion in Las Vegas. you were involved in a tag team match. I believe you actually teamed up with Matt Hardy and went against members of the Empire. So no strangers to you. What was that like?
Oh, man. Yeah, like you said, no stranger to the Empire at all. I mean, it's like everywhere that I go, I can't get away from them. This was probably like the 27th time I run into Matt Riviera himself, Tim Storm, and their other guy, Greg Anthony. I mean, I can't get away from them, but, you know, it's kind of great every time I get to get in the ring with there and just kind of get a chance to shut Matt's mouth a little bit, you know.
You know, I'm becoming more of a fan of that after I came to the ring after things had gotten out of control, and people can see this on IHWE TV, and Matt put his hands on me. Like I said, I'm going to handle that. There's a time and a place to handle Matt Riviera, and I'm going to do that September 28th. But August 30th is, like I said, we're not going to give anything away here, but it's a rematch because the first match was so good, and anybody can win any given match on any given night. I believe in rematches, and this time I upped the ante. You know, the DFW Championship is going to be online. It's going to be another triple threat match, but this time it's going to be 2 out of 3 falls. And to make sure that you 3 guys get the opportunity to make history again that you should, I'm going to be the special guest referee. You don't have to worry about some referee who's either on the take or who is inexperienced or who makes a mistake. I make mistakes all the time, but I'm going to be in there, and obviously I want that match to succeed, and I want you 3 guys to go in there and make history. So are you going to be, what do you think about that? Are you game for that? Are you game for another match with these 2 out of 3 falls this time, which I don't believe I've ever seen in a triple threat match?
Absolutely. I mean, just the first match I thought we made history in the first match, and then the rematch got announced. And, I'm always looking for better competition, and it really doesn't get much better as far as up-and-coming competition than Gregory James and Ashton Jacobs. So, and just to up the ante and make it 2 out of 3 falls and a championship match. And then you've got the guy that created this vision of IHWE that is going to be the special guest referee. I mean, August 30th, we're going to make history. Absolutely.
You know, it's an honor for me because when I broke into the business, and I'm that guy now apparently, when I broke in, I could count on one hand how many guys my size there were around here. There just wasn't that many guys around, even though WCW and ECW had already introduced cruiserweight divisions. Japan already had the Super J Cup. But down here, Joey Corman, Samir, very few, Cowtown Kid Kevin Duncan, Seshai was a light heavyweight then, Zane Morris. But it was very, 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 just a little amount. So it's, for me to come, full circle and be in the ring with, I think, 3 of the best who not necessarily, that you may be looked at as not your standard heavyweight, but doesn't matter anymore because the lines have been blurred. And now people depend on guys like you to go in there and rock the house down. That's going to be awesome. So it's really cool for me, and that's the best way to get in any kind of shape as far as I'm concerned. September 28th, Jim Cornette, Stan Hansen, Kyle O'Reilly, Charlie Haas. We just announced the grappler Lynn Denton are going to be on this spectacular card. We're going to be back at the Sendera Center. You're going to be there. Americos, ladies and gentlemen, is booked so far in advance. I don't even know where he lives. I think he lives in an airport because he's always on the road. He's always flying somewhere. I literally had to pull him back as soon as he won the DFW championship, pull him in a room, and we had to lock down the rest of as soon as his match was over with, we had to lock down the rest of the year because I was like, okay, I need this guy on every show that we do. It took us, we had to lock down the dates because he is booked so far in advance. It's ridiculous. Like I said, the week before IHWE, he was in Las Vegas wrestling at the CAC as a part of that event that was going on. So he's all over the place. What does it mean to you? You represent the old school because you have an old school character. You obviously have a hybrid of old school, new school as far as your styles go. But what does it mean to you to perform in front of Stan Hansen, Jim Cornette, Len Denton, and, of course, Shirley Haas, who's going to be there wrestling for the first time, and, of course, Kyle O'Reilly, who's the current PWG heavyweight champion? What does that mean to you?
Well, I mean, it's like you said, what I represent is just the old school wrestling and a mix of new school, and it really, that mixture is going to be represented so well on that date with all the names you just listed. And as far as, wrestling, I'm always looking to learn, and there are very few places that you get all those names in one place. And so just to be able to perform in front of those people, and, talk to those people, pick their brains, and learn more about this business that, maybe stuff I have never heard before, get their takes on everything that I do, what they do. I mean, man, every day that I'm there is going to be memorable. Like every day we're making history with this.
One more question. IHWE TV begins tonight at 10 o'clock Central Standard Time. It's on YouTube. What can fans expect, and what do you, as far as you're concerned, you're all over the country now. You're wrestling in different cities every weekend. But what do you think of this new? I say new. It's not new. What do you think of this concept where it's not your traditional wrestling show on a TV channel? Now it's on YouTube, where so many things are these days. Do you think it's a plus? Do you think it's a plus that anybody in the world can watch this on any number of different platforms anytime they want? And what can fans expect from these set of television shows that have come out of that show we did back in June?
I think that they can expect some of the best wrestling in the whole country. I mean, like you said, I've traveled around the country, and I've met some great talent, and I mean, just so many people, so many promotions that do this company right, that do this business right. But the talent that we have at IHWE, really, it's top notch. It doesn't get any better than that. And just for people to be able to access that any way that they want, you're going to get a mix of the old, a mix of the new, and just a hybrid that you have never heard of before, that you will never see again.
All right, Americos. Where can people find you via social media? I know you have a Twitter and a public Facebook page. Where can people find you? I know you got to get back on the road. Where can people find you on social media?
You can find my fan page, Americos, on Facebook, and also my Twitter is at AmericosTCW on Twitter. Just find me, follow me, give me a like on Facebook, and I'll keep you posted on everything that I'm doing on my travels, and I invite everyone to follow me on this crazy journey.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, and again, August tonight, it'll be on IHWE TV at 10 o'clock, worldwide, YouTube, top of the hour. August 30th, we'll be back in Fort Worth for a live event, anti-bullying assembly for all the kids, and he'll be in the main event that night. And then Sunday, September 28th, he will be back in Fort Worth on a star-studded event that we've been talking about. Americos, thank you for joining us. Be safe out there, wherever you are. Be safe this weekend, and I will see you on August 30th.
Yes, sir. I will see you then. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. All right. 9 o'clock hour. We have two numbers on. Area code 940-395. Who is on the line?
Hey, how's it going? This is Ashton Jacobs.
Ashton, okay. 940-231. Is this PSP?
Yes, it is.
All right. Got a couple of great guests on here, so we're going to talk to these guys real quick. Michael, if you want to unmute our other guests, go right ahead. Okay. All right, Ashton, we're going to get to you first.
Yes, sir.
Actually, we're going to talk to you and Scott at the same time. Ladies and gentlemen, Ashton Jacobs, he is going to be one of the combatants in the triple threat match for the Dallas-Fort Worth Championship. That is going to be your opening match on this IHWE TV season premiere, and that takes place at the top of the hour, YouTube. You can watch it on IHWEnow.com. You can watch it all over social media, or like I said, YouTube.com/IHWE2009. If you've subscribed to our channel, we have 210 worldwide subscribers, If you subscribe to it, you can watch it on gaming consoles, Android, Apple devices. Devices, made up a new word. I sound like I'm from the East Coast. Not going to happen. Devices, smart TVs, gaming consoles, yada, yada, yada. We'll talk about that with PSP here shortly. Ashton, you were in that match. Tell us about wrestling in that building, and tell us about being in that match.
Well, to be honest, that building, it's just the feel, those people, they were just so fired up in just the first match. I just found like that was just, to me, very, very, we would say, it was moving, because that's, to be honest, that was kind of the closest show to my hometown. And I got my family and my friends to come. It was a very emotional and just amazing feeling. And the match, that was probably the toughest match I had to go through, because I had two of the top talents in Texas. And I was like, oh man, this is going to be crazy. And it ended up to be a crazy, amazing experience. I wish I got the win, but hey, everything goes. The rematch is next.
We're going to bring in Scott here, and we're going to kind of go back and forth between you two. Scott, you, man, well, you know, we rode up and down the roads together in the late 90s. You wrestled for NWA Southwest, which had a television program on KLDT Channel 55. You participated in XCW, which had MAP TV, you had pay-per-views, you had worldwide DVD distribution with Battle Box and Total Destruction. You were around the scene when PCW was on UPN 21. Now we've come along and we're like, okay, hey, we're going to do the typical television format wrestling show, but hey, we're going to take it and we're going to put it on YouTube. We're going to go in a different direction, as opposed to the standard old school wrestling show, which normally would have either aired really early in the morning on a weekend, like 4 or 5, 3 to 6, or Sunday or Saturday mornings during your cartoon period. What do you think of that strategy?
Well, I think it's smart, man. I mean, this is the modern times we live in, and people now have so many ways to experience all kinds of entertainment. I mean, not just on a television screen anymore, and not even just when something airs, like you mentioned. I mean, I remember, shoot, the little kid in me, I think, is kind of jealous, you know, because the little kid in me that used to struggle to stay up real late to watch that little studio wrestling show, or hope that, you know, my dad didn't have any chores for me to watch on that Saturday morning, you know, when World Class would come on or something like that. It's a little jealous now, because, yeah, now you've got 24/7 instant access, everything, and there's so much content out there, and I think it's exciting to go that way, and I think that it's ahead of the curve a little bit too, which is just awesome as well, because it's going to be not just best for the fans, it's also going to be best for the boys, you know, in the ring, you know, busting tail, you know, to be able to be seen by such a wide audience in such a wide variety of ways.
I agree. Ashton, you competed there. You were also involved in another match, which will be featured on IHWE TV next week. You're actually on the first 2 editions when you wrestled Matt Riviera. Jim Cornette is also going to be on next week's edition of IHWE TV. What's really cool about this show is yes, you're going to get your in-ring action that we all taped June 8th at the Sendero Center in front of a sold-out crowd, but we're also going to have, you know, like Scott mentioned, with technology these days, anybody can send us something and we can get it into our show. And so we're going to have cameos from just different people you wouldn't expect every week, and that's what's going to be really cool about this. But Ashton, knowing that this is going to be seen worldwide, you know, you grew up and were trained in the XCW, and XCW did a lot of cool things, and they were revolutionary on a few different, you know, things in this area. But now, you know, you are at the, I don't want to say you're at your peak, but you've progressed so much. What does it mean to you knowing that, hey, this is going to be, you know, on such a stage? What does that mean to you as a competitor?
As a competitor, it just means I need to, I guess, in a way, I have to get better. I mean, I'm a firm believer. You always can increase in being a better competitor in any way. I'm kind of say, what's the best word to say it? I'm working harder and I'm going to work better, but I want to aim to the higher level. But to me, you never really hit a peak. You just keep growing. I believe in growing. You're going to grow as a better competitor. And I guess what you could say, I'm trying to think of a better way to put it. I kind of just had a little brain fart there for a second. Hold on. I lost thought.
Better than a real fart on the air. It's okay. Brain farts are okay.
It's all right.
Brain farts.
I'm sorry.
Brain farts don't lose you. That's all right. I understand what you're saying. You are setting the bar. You're going to continuously set the bar after every performance. You're not going to set the bar and be complacent. You're just going to continuously reset the bar every time you get into that ring. Is that where I'm getting at?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, that's a definite good thing. That's awesome. I believe that. I've seen that in you since the first day I met you, which was a few years ago when Knight brought you up to the show, and I could see that. And as I've seen you grow as a competitor over the years, I see that indeed. Scott, you have given pints of blood to this business. You have given bones, and you've taken years off your, not years off your life, hopefully, but years off your physical.
Probably.
Of course, being as being a physical competitor. Scott, I didn't give Scott a formal introduction. Scott is he's an XCW alumnus. He wrestled all over the state of Texas and Louisiana over the past 15 years. He's a former XCW Tag Team Champion. Now he is a video game branding personality. He's a media personality, media mogul, social media mogul. He was on Frankenfood on Spike TV this past Sunday with the Body Slam. We brought him on here because he's going to be participating in a couple of IHWE events coming up. But like I said, I really wanted your insight on the whole us going to YouTube thing. I think you've seen some of the product, and of course you've seen the direction we're going in. Jim Cornette coming as one of the boys, because you always will be, as far as I'm concerned. What does it mean to you? Because, like I said, you're up in this territory. I remember when you called in to 97.1 The Eagle, and when Team Extreme was on, and you told everybody you were going to have your first match against Mark Love at NWA Southwest. And I remember those road trips with you and how passionate you were and how passionate you still are about it. What does it mean to you seeing, like, you were in XCW, and XCW had a vision, and like I said, on a number of different things, they were revolutionary. What does it mean to you sitting back seeing these things happen now in this territory?
I think it's fantastic. And it's sometimes I wonder what if, because like I said, you and me go way back, and I've often joked when I'm talking to some of the old boys at times too, like what could Scott Phoenix have done with YouTube and Twitter and Facebook and stuff like that? Because I was a shameless self-promoter even then, but there was only so many ways to do it, and so seeing, not just those tools out there, but seeing them be used now, it's fantastic. I mean, both for the fans and for the boys in the ring, because, the fans now will have multiple choices. I mean, you turn on your cable TV, it's not like it used to be. You got your big WWE, and, nothing against anybody up there, and, TNA's losing their spot. And, there's just not as many other televised options there used to be. They've got to turn to other ways. And it's faster than tape trading and more up to date. And, I've always been a fan ever since I was a kid, and even now, to be partial of that Texas strong style, too. We do it different down here. We always have done it different down here. There's different areas of the world, different areas of the country that got unique styles, and down here in Texas, we still know how to just knock the spit out of each other. And, and just really be intense and really bring those fans into it. So yeah, it's just absolutely fantastic to see not just the progression, but to see that somebody recognizes that it can be used, and somebody recognizes how to use it, and what your plans are to be doing with that it's A+, man. I mean, there's people need to follow that lead, because I mean it's only going to be good for the promotion and all the boys and all the potential exposure that can come from it.
Right. Agreed 100%. Ashton, on August 30th, there's a rematch. There's a rematch for the DFW title. We're not going to give anything away here. People want to see the outcome. You got to watch it at 10 o'clock tonight. Americos, Ashton, and Gregory. Gregory and Americos have already been on. Yeah. There's a rematch. You've got a second chance. Not a second chance of winning or losing anything. You've got a second chance to make history, because this time it's a triple threat match. This time it's 2 out of 3 falls. And because on any given night, anybody can win a match, anybody can lose a match. At any given night, a referee can make a mistake. You never know if the referee is experienced enough. You never know if a referee is siding a certain way. Well, on this night, it's not going to happen, because I'm going to be the special guest referee, and it's a great opportunity for me to get back into shape, because I can hit the gym all the time. I can just try to get in the ring and hang with you 3 guys. And there's a good chance that the referee may be out of commission within the first 5 minutes of the match. But 2 out of 3 falls. Tell us how you're getting ready for that, and tell us what that means to you. Second chance to make history, because you did already, and people are going to see it at 10 o'clock. You already made history once. Now you get an opportunity to do it again.
I've been training like crazy. I've been just working very, very hard, physically, mentally, and spiritually, just to get ready. Now, the first match I thought was a war, but when I found out about the second and the rematch, I looked back and I'm like, this match was a battle. The next match, the rematch, is a war. I mean, that's just, wow. That's just, to me, that's probably going to be the most intense and probably one of the craziest matches Texas is ever going to see. I'll be really completely honest. It's just going to beat you down. It's going to be all 3 down, and we'll just see who comes up on top.
Yeah, and I had the inevitable task of raising somebody's hand that night, but that's going to be. I can't wait to be in there. Like I said, years ago when guys like Scott and me were on the road, there weren't too many, guys like me around. There was the Joey Cormans, there was the Samirs. So, I mean, it's really cool. It's kind of come full circle for me, because now I get to be in the ring with you 3 guys and see you guys make history, and I get to be a part of it. So I'm really excited about that. I can't do what you guys do. I couldn't then, and I sure as hell can't do it now. But I'm going to feed off you guys, and I just can't wait to be in there. And I want you guys to have an opportunity to do your thing with nobody screwing it up. And, of course, I make mistakes every day, but I'm going to go in there I'm going to let you guys do your thing, wrestle each other. I'm not going to be in your way. And you guys are going to get the opportunity that you deserve on August 30th. Scott, you are going to be involved August 30th, but you're going to be involved in a different capacity. IHWE is tackling the bullying issue that has been around since the beginning of time and will probably be around till the end of time. But we're going to try to do our part. You're going to be taking part in first ever IHWE Anti-Bullying Assembly. We've spoken about that in great length, but now that you're on here, you've spoken about it a little bit via social media, but you're going to be a part of it. You're going to be speaking at the assembly. What's that mean to you?
Well, to me, it's an exciting opportunity for me. I was bullied growing up, and sometimes rather harshly, and no number of adults telling you to get over it and things will get better or whatever. If they don't actually understand what it is to go through that, can help. And nowadays, I can even imagine how much worse it's got to be, because at least when I was a kid, when school was over, I could get home. I had the weekends, at summer vacation if I wanted it. now we live in this 24/7 connected society of social media, Twitter, text messages, and I can imagine what kids got to go through now, and sometimes they're not going to feel like there's any escape. And so never being able to escape from it, oh my God, it's I can feel for them. So, but the thing is, when you grow up, you've learned from those lessons, and you get stronger, and you never lose until you stop fighting. And I want to have the opportunity to tell some kids that maybe have gone through these same or going through these experiences now, that it does get better, and that it's not you. And I think the biggest example of that is one of the main reasons why I was so picked on as a kid and bullied so much as a kid was because I really liked wrestling and video games. How'd that work out for me?
Right.
I got to go on and live a childhood dream for 10 years of being a wrestler. And I got, up to these days I make my living, talking about video games at events all over the country and on TV and movies. The very things that I was bullied for liking are the things that made me who I am today. And last time I looked through my old high school reunion, hangout page or whatever. It seems like the ones that bullied me have never gone to do anything near as interesting. And I want to be able to tell these youth that. And I want to be able to maybe even discourage some of the other ones there if they are bullies or if they thought about that.
Right.
Or whatever in the past, to give them a little something to think about too. Obviously not gonna, pull them aside and be like, listen here, kid, but to kind of give them a thing to let them know that, look, man, for whatever reason you feel compelled to do this, you're negatively affecting somebody else. And as much physical pain as I've gone through, you've talked about some of that, XCW and some of the stuff that I was doing there and other promotions. I always think the emotional pain is the stuff that scarred me the deepest and left the most lasting impact. It's not even until, I could say arguably a few months ago, that I finally broke the anxiety issues that have plagued me my whole life because of the way I was bullied as a kid. Even going through wrestling, every single time I was about to go out there, every single time after that, every single time I'd have a camera in front of my face. I'm just now, at 38 years old, starting to feel at ease in front of a crowd, in front of a camera, in front of a microphone, feel confident in myself. It took me that long, but it did get there. So, to be able to tell a bunch of youngsters about my experiences and to let them know that there's hope, to let them know that it gets better, and let them know what the right, or remind some others possibly what the right way is. It's an exciting opportunity because I wish that somebody had told me that as a child.
Exactly. I agree. It didn't seem like that they had anything like, there was bullying, but it didn't seem like they had anything like this back when, Scott, there's a few years difference between you and me, but it didn't seem like they had the DARE, they had Say No to Drugs, they had the reading programs. It didn't seem like they had anything anti-bullying, not that I remember.
I remember at times feeling like there was no help. Because, if you did go to a teacher or a counselor or whatever for help, nothing ever really did anything, a lot of times you were expected to have to hang and, do something about it or just deal with it. And of course, I had the big, macho dad that, I don't think he experienced it quite the same way that I did. So he's just kind of like, yeah, get over it. Not that easy, man. No matter how tough you are, or you think you are, you can't just shrug that off. You're a human being. Everyone's affected by words and aggressive thoughts and bullying and all that by others. And so I think it's a great thing. And I think this is a productive way to do it too. This isn't some guidance counselor on the evening news going, well, children need to learn that. No, this is, that doesn't do any good either, but being able to tell some of these kids directly what we went through and what we did and how we coped and what we did and how we got better, I think is an effective way. And certainly, something that, I wish that had existed when we were kids, but the world's a different place now.
It's going to be great. I'm going to host it. We're going to have PSP there, who obviously has done big things with his life. Sarah Morgan's going to be there. Obviously, she experienced it when she was younger. Now she's a nationally syndicated host on Lex and Terry show. We're going to have Charlie Haas there, who has done so many great things in professional wrestling. And we're going to have Black Bart there. I can only imagine what Black Bart is going to say to these kids. We may, Scott, we may have to stand guard for that.
I remember sitting around listening to some Bart stories once upon a time. So
he calls me every day. Every day, and in every
see,
conversation, he reminds me, Jim Crockett owes him money. Every conversation. That's going to be the name of his book. If Black Bart ever writes a book, it's going to be Jim Crockett owes me money. So,
it'll be good to see him. Yeah, it'll be good to see him again. I think it's really awesome. He's going to be there too.
Yes, it's going to be great. All right, Ashton and Scott, we're going to go ahead and let you guys go. Ashton, is there any kind of social media? Scott, hang on real quick. Ashton, obviously you're going to be on IHWE TV, the inaugural edition, season premiere at 10 o'clock tonight. You're going to be at IHWE August 30th. You're going to be at IHWE Sunday night, September 28th. Is there any kind of social media that people can find you on as far as keeping up where you're wrestling and all that good stuff?
Well, right now I have Facebook, but my Twitter, I had one, but it doesn't work anymore. So I'm working on that. So far, all I have is Facebook. That's mostly what I got. And if you don't mind if I say one more thing, I would really like to thank y'all for bringing me on here. I really do appreciate it. Because, to be honest, Fuller, I love your vision and your dedication and your love for this business. You made IHWE, I think, one of the number one wrestling shows in Texas. I'll be pretty honest. I see a very, very big future, and I see it just of all these three things: your vision, your dedication, and your love for this business. And I'm thankful for you to allow me to wrestle for this company. Thank you very much. And it's great to hear from Scott Phoenix again. It's been a very, very long time. I'm glad to hear from you too, sir. It's an honor to hear from you and talk.
Hey, it's been great to see.
That's my piece, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Well, Ashton, you have earned it. Now, from the first time I met you in 2010 when Knight brought you to an IHWE show, met your family, and you've all been, and I knew because of the guy that trained you, after I met your parents, I knew. I was like, okay, I've got to have this guy around. It's, our people earn opportunities. I don't play politics. I don't believe in it. I want people there who, number one, want to be there, number two, want to be in business with me, not pat me on the back and go, oh, brother, that's a great idea, even if the idea sucks, and people who go out there and bust their butt in the ring. There's no prima donna with you. You're actually going out there because what you just said I have, you also have, and you remind me a lot of me, except you got a better attitude, you got better people around you, and so anything I can do for people like you are the reason I'm still around. So I want to thank you for being on here tonight. I want to thank you for putting your body on the line for my show, because without guys like you, there wouldn't be a show. So
thank you very, very much.
Thank you,
I really appreciate it.
No problem, Ashton. Okay, Scott, your social media credentials or platforms, you can find this guy everywhere. So go right ahead, sir. You have the floor.
I try. What's ironic is I just heard from my high school reunion class, or a friend of mine on there, you just say you can find me everywhere. I had a good laugh because somehow I was on a short list of people that they couldn't find. So I was like, dear God, did they? Maybe I'm not doing it right. I don't know. But yeah, first of all, yeah, it is great, Ashton, to see you're still going at it and how well you're doing, and it will be good to see you again. And yeah, David, it's been a long time, man. I appreciate you having me on. It'll be good to see you again here on August 30th. The main hub of everything I do, I'm on pretty much all social media, but the two main places to find and connect to everything I do is, of course, my website, which is patrickscottpatterson.com. Or if you're feeling old school, you could still go to scottphoenix.com and it will take you to that website. I've reclaimed that domain. I don't know quite why. I guess I got tired of seeing it as a Japanese mixed drink site that it became for a while. I don't know why that was. That's what it was. It was like some Japanese like mixed alcoholic beverage website for like 2 years, and then they let it lapse, and I'm like, I gotta buy that back because that's just weird. But yeah, PatrickScottPatterson.com, and that's got a link to all my different social media and all my schedule, all my appearances at events all over the country and recent media stuff. And then, of course, Twitter is my main social media network, which that is @OriginalPSP. That's the most frequent place I update and put stuff out. And if I want to link you to go somewhere else, that's where I'm going to do it first. So PatrickScottPatterson.com and @OriginalPSP. And like you said earlier, I will be seeing you guys on August 30th, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
All right, Ashton and Scott, thank you so much for joining us, and be sure to check out IHWE TV and let us know what you think, especially you, Scott. I'm very interested.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I like I said, love what you're doing. It's great to see. It's great to see not just what you're doing, but it's you doing it. So just because you busted your butt to get here, and it's great to see you doing something with it, man. So yeah, I'll be checking it out.
Thank you very much.
Y'all take care.
Thank you, guys. You both have a good night.
Y'all have a great day.
Yeah. Bye.
Thank you. All right, Michael. I kind of went over. You were going to host the second hour. Patrick Scott Patterson, PS, and Ashton Jacobs. IHWE TV premieres at the top of the 10 o'clock hour. And now I'm going to shut up because Michael's been standing by with his people. He's got some announcements to make. I want to thank all my guests for calling in. And, Michael, it's all yours.
All right, David, thank you. Don't want you to go anywhere, though. Sit back. This is your last show. I want to make sure that you have a proper farewell, so kind of kick back for a little bit. I am going to bring you back in a few minutes. I'm going to let you talk a little bit more. But first, this is something I've been looking forward to. Starting next week, August 6th, IHWE Radio will also be known as IHWE Professional Wrestling Radio, because we're going to be bringing the best of Texas, California, Oregon, all over the United States, and we're going to bring them all together right here every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Mountain. If there's some other funky time frame I don't know about, it'll be on. Figure it out, add it up, change the hours. You want to listen to us in Japan? We're going to be in Japan. I don't know what time it is in Japan. We're going to be there every Wednesday night doing the same great show that I've always tried to do every Wednesday night with David as my co-host. David, I'm going to miss you, man. I'm going to talk about that a little bit later. I don't want to get emotional. But right now, we've talked about him for a little while. We refer to him as the Mystery Man. I have to bring on the new co-host of IHWE Radio, a 17-year veteran in this business. Ring announcer, commentator, worked for Portland Wrestling, West Coast Wrestling Connection, Big Time Wrestling, Power Pit Pro Wrestling, Blue Collar Wrestling, All Pro Wrestling, Pro Wrestling Iron, Fog City Wrestling. If there is a federation I missed, I apologize. I will let him have the floor. He can tell more about his career. We're going to give him just a few minutes because, like David, he likes to talk a bit. So I'm going to have to rein him in. But, ladies and gentlemen, the new co-host of IHWE Radio, my partner in IHWE California, the man who helped get me into this business, the man that my kids refer to as their uncle. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to IHWE Radio, the new co-host, Joe Souza. Joe, how you doing tonight?
I am doing so well, my friend, and reining me in, that's good. And David, I want to say congratulations. I want to wish you well, and I will take a look at IHWE TV tonight. That's going to be quite interesting. Wow, this is something that we've been talking about for a while, and we've kept it hush hush. And when I came up with the idea about as you know, we did the show this past March in Eureka, California. I figured, why don't we do it under the IHWE banner? This way, we have an umbrella to work under, and give it some credibility. and I'm glad that, you know, that was met favorably. But yeah, this is such a big thrill for me to, you know, to do this, to be back in the swing of things, so to speak. No road trips for me. Unlike, you know, driving up and down the West Coast, as you know, Mike, you've driven with me up to Oregon, Washington, SoCal. We're going to be here, home, doing the thing, just doing what we do, talk wrestling, old school and new, and all sorts of things.
Well, definitely, man. You and I have definitely had a few road trips in the day. We'll talk about those as, you know, the weeks go on. We have a few stories that could, I don't know, it could scare some people. Some of these young boys might want to stay home and not go on these road trips. But
let's kind of ease into this first here.
But Joe, I'm glad you're joining us as the co-host, man. I've been looking forward to this. I think you and I are going to do some great things with IHWE California, not only as a promotion, but as a talent liaison between California and the Pacific Northwest and Texas. Like I said earlier, we're taking the best of the West Coast and the Pacific Northwest, and we're putting that together with the tradition of Texas wrestling. We've already presented our first one, is the Grappler. He's coming home to Texas. IHWE California, we're presenting that. I'm looking forward to that.
Oh, me too. That is such a big feather in the cap for us to, you know, bring him in and returning home to Texas. And, you know, as you know, we've had the pleasure to meet him. I've had the pleasure to call a few of his matches up in Oregon, teaming up with Moondog Moretti. They wrestled Terry Taylor, Scotty Mack, Grappler in a lucha show several years back, teaming up with Exile against Villanos 3 and 5. I could go down a list of some of the highlights of some of the guys I've called. I've called a match with Roddy Piper, Honky Tonk Man, so forth, Greg Valentine, Dr. Luther, the Grappler. Also, the very first person to call a Pro Wrestling Noah GHC Cup match on American soil, with Michael Modest defending that title against Vito Tomaselli. That was on a Pro Wrestling Iron Card. But this here, plus the show we promoted this past March, big thing. I'm really looking forward to it. Big things are happening. We are the liaison between Texas and here on the West Coast, and it's going to be great. It's going to be a lot of fun. You know, the interviews are going to be plenty. We're going to be talking old school, new school. Basically, the common bond is pro wrestling, and that's what I want to emphasize.
All right, well, we are not alone in this venture. I've taken the time to put together a stellar team for this show. Myself as the host, you as the co-host, we're all going to be helping put together. I also put together a couple other correspondents to help us out. We're going to have a great show. We're going to have some great people. The next person I want to introduce, just met him a few weeks ago, but his knowledge of this business goes well beyond his years. I will tell you that right now. Just a few times I've had to speak with him, I'm impressed with this guy. I'm glad he's joining us here. He's also a member of Pipe Bomb Radio, which airs also on Blog Talk Radio on Tuesday evenings. We'll let him tell you more about that. But I'd like to welcome to IHWE Radio, Mr. Austin James. Austin, how you doing tonight, man?
What's up? Hi, I'm doing phenomenal. What about you guys?
Doing well,
We're doing good. Welcome to the show, man. We're proud to have you as part of our team.
I appreciate it. You know, I've been around, speaking with so many guys in the past, like Bruno Sammartino, Ivan Koloff, Tito Santana, Kevin Von Erich, just to name a few. And it's been amazing, but I know we're going to create some new memories, on IHWE Radio.
Now, one thing you and I have going here, we're going to be doing some cross-promotion with your other show, which is Pipe Bomb Radio, which airs, as I said, Tuesday nights on Blog Talk Radio. I'm going to give you the floor for a minute. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that show?
Yeah, Pipe Bomb Radio has been around, since the beginning of 2013. Felix Almedo, from California, actually, a great place to be, especially, for people that love wrestling. There's a lot of wrestling down there, inside, I guess, in the United States. And, we at the beginning have interviewed, so many great people I could just mention a few minutes ago. And you can actually catch us on Pipe Bomb Radio, Blog Talk on Facebook, Twitter, and every single other social media website, even Pinterest. I get on Felix all the time about this. I'm like, I have no clue who goes on Pinterest, but, you know, I guess for all the people who have those vegetable gardens and want to post pictures of them, we're there too. And we're everywhere, you know, and we've talked to so many great people.
I got to say, I haven't heard about Pinterest as a social media outlet yet for us, but hey, if it works. Austin will be part of our, along with being a member of our team here, he will also be part of our social media outlet. He's going to be helping promote the show as well as Pipe Bomb, and I will be joining Austin over on Pipe Bomb Radio as an occasional guest. Looking forward to that. So we got some great things coming up. August, help me out here, 23rd, you booked our first guest, and that gentleman is Rudy Boy Gonzalez. That is the first guest that Austin has helped us book. And who else have you got lined up for us, trying to get lined up for us?
Well, actually, you know, right now, Rudy Boy Gonzalez for August 20th. And if anybody doesn't know who Rudy Boy Gonzalez is, he trained alongside Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels at the Texas Wrestling Academy when he was doing his training thing, training other wrestlers, most notably Daniel Bryan, former WWE champion, world heavyweight champion. I mean, this guy has been in professional wrestling for quite some time. And August 20th, we're going to bring him on here to talk about him. And as far as the other dates, I'm not going to say exactly who we got on yet. I'm kind of still working out the details. But let me tell you something, man. It's going to be great. We're going to have some amazing guests looking forward into the future.
Working diligently. That is what Austin is doing for IHWE Radio. Working diligently. Now, he's also going to be working with us. He'll be going over, like, the headlines of the week, So, because as we said, we blend new school with old school. We bring it all together. Austin will be covering the headlines of the week. Like right now, we'll take a few minutes here before we bring on our last member of our team. Big story going on right now. TNA Wrestling supposedly gone from Spike TV in October. TNA denies it, says they're still in negotiations. What is your take on the situation?
I think TNA, people are going to talk about it as much as they want. They're going to say, well, they're going to be, getting off of Spike TV. I think, in my opinion, the only time I'm going to believe that something's fallen through is when they actually talk about it, post it online or make an official statement on TNA Wrestling's, website. But like Eric Bischoff has said time and time before, any publicity is good publicity, right? Negative or positive, they're still getting attention with people talking about it. And especially in the past, week or so, there's a lot of people that are having eyes on TNA, whether it's for their demise or wanting success. I think that at the beginning with TNA Wrestling, they had a lot of failure, but in that failure came great success because they got out of the drought they were in, and they're going to get out of the drought they're in right now.
Well, most definitely. And as far as publicity goes, I think I've read more about TNA in the last 2 or 3 days than I've read in months. I mean, every day there's something new. Now, we talk about TNA, we talk about Joe's involved in the business. One of the things that's great about this industry is its history. And if we forget the history, then this sport will die, unfortunately. We have to pass on the history of this industry, because if we don't, it's eventually going to be forgotten. We cannot forget the past. We cannot forget what has happened. And therefore, I went ahead and added another new member to our broadcast team. He's the research assistant for my book, Encyclopedia WCCW. And when it comes to the history of this business, this guy, we refer to him on this show many times as a walking encyclopedia. You want the date, you want to know who defeated who for what title, what major event happened on this time 20, 30 years ago, you go to this man, the newest member of the IHWE Radio team, Mr. Brian Westcott. Brian, how are you doing tonight?
Doing great. Good to be here. Yes, congratulations to the Joe coming on board as a co-host, and with Austin with Pipe Bomb Radio, and good luck, best wishes to Dave Fuller, and thanks for all the hard work he has done. And with the IHWE TV taking off, good things are happening. Oh, yeah, and just to let people know, get your tickets now, your reservations now for the 50th reunion for the Cauliflower Alley Club. That'll be in April of 2015 because they're already being available for purchasing. So get it while you can. I think they're expecting they can see about 710 people for that banquet, and so you don't want to miss out. And you never know who's coming or who you'll see for the last time. This past Tuesday was Shuhei Aoki's birthday, and Shuhei, last time I saw him was a few weeks ago in June, and he passed away. He was a Red Bastien Friendship Award recipient, a super fan from Japan, and I mean we were just blown away, and we're just in total shock of all of this. Also, we've got the Mid-Atlantic Wrestling Legends Fan Fest coming up this weekend in Charlotte, North Carolina, and it'll be the very last one. So Mid-Atlantic wrestling fans, enjoy that while you can. Like I say, August 2nd, this coming Saturday, like I say, we've got 22 years ago coming up. In Baltimore, Maryland, it was Ron Simmons, the first African-American wrestler to win the WCW World Heavyweight Championship, defeating Big Van Vader. Now, of course, there were African-American world champions before this, but it was history-making at that time, and Cowboy Bill Watts was in charge and was trying to recreate the magic with Ron Simmons, well, just like I did with JYD, but alas, that did not happen, and the experiment only lasted for a short time. We just had the 28th anniversary of Dusty Rhodes becoming a three-time NWA World Heavyweight Champion, defeating Ric Flair, Great American Bash, Steel Cage match, Greensboro, North Carolina. So, yeah, looking forward to everything, forward to the big and the best. It'll be great to provide you with some great wrestling history. We've got a big day coming up August the 27th. Big day involving ECW, NWA, and Luna Vachon.
And this, ladies and gentlemen, is why I wanted Brian as a member of my team, because I did not realize that 22 years ago.
Yeah, 22 years ago, coming up.
Yeah, I remember watching that match. That was the drawing. They drew his name out of the bag, and because Sting was unable to wrestle, I believe it was something.
Yeah.
That was a storyline. That was 22 years ago.
You were a youngster.
Yeah, no gray hair in the beard, no kids running around screaming daddy. Yeah, that was a long time. But this is why we have Brian on the show. He's going to help us. He's going to remind us of the history of the sport. As like I said, if we don't remember it, the history is going to die. And on IHWE Professional Wrestling Radio, the wrestling history will never die. That's why we keep this going. But on this note, I want to thank all you guys for agreeing to be a part of the team. We got some great shows coming up. I'm looking forward to working with everyone going on in the future. But I do have to say one word to a man who I know is listening, because I told him, don't leave. That's David. David, back in January, you put up a notice on Facebook saying you wanted to start a podcast. Was there anyone interested in being a host? I half-jokingly put up a post saying, I've never done it before. I'm willing to try. Let's give it a shot. 2 days later, you messaged me to tell me we're going live, whatever the date was. I don't have it in front of me right now, but we're going live this day. Boom, let's do it. I had no hosting experience. You said, no problem, man. You can do it. Okay. I went ahead. I did it. I'm enjoying every week of this. As over that time, I've become not only just the host of the show, but a producer. Now I'm directing it, formatting, along with the members of my team. I'm also representing IHWE California, an extension of the brand that you started. You put enough faith in me to allow me to represent your brand, along with Joe, we'll be representing. But you put your faith in me to do that. And I got to thank you, man. Awesome. No one's ever really given me a shot like this. I appreciate it. I'm going to take this ball. I'm going to run with it. IHWE California, Joe and I are going to do our best to make it the best it can possibly be, and I am going to do my best to make sure that IHWE Professional Wrestling Radio is the podcast to listen to every Wednesday night. Earlier today, you posted that we've had 2,600 downloads since this show started. I checked it out with the calculator. That averages about 450 per month. Good numbers for a show with two guys just sitting around talking about wrestling. Great numbers. I'm only hoping to take those numbers, move them up. I want this show to be big. I want you to be proud of what we started back in January and see it become something big. So thank you for the opportunity. And, man, it's your last show as a regular co-host. You'll come on as a guest. I'm not letting you get away that easily. But on the last show as a regular co-host, I'm going to give you the mic and let you say a few words to our listeners, to your family, your friends, everyone out there, man. The floor is yours.
Well, thank you, Michael. We started this in January 22nd, I believe was our first show. It wasn't my first show because I ran a podcast earlier years ago called IHWE Radio. And I didn't want to do this one alone because I got too much on my plate. The urban legend or the myth out there about me is I don't ever sleep, and I work every hour of every day. And that's a little far-fetched. It's partially true. I have a baby who's about 7 months old who's going through teething right now. So that's pretty much the reason I don't sleep. And when I find myself in a position where getting him to sleep at the end of the night, that's sometimes the only time I have to work. And so that's why that is. I feel really good about this show and the future of it. My goal was to get Michael on here and get him to where he felt comfortable taking this and doing it his way. And I think he's there. I'm confident enough in him. He's got a vision. He's got Joe, which I'm glad Joe's on the team. He's been around for about as long as I have. He brings experience to the show and a plethora of different jobs he's done over the years in the business. Ashton, who's a go-getter because he loves the business and he's still extremely young and he has nothing but the future ahead of him. And Brian, who just loves the wrestling business, and he's like, hey, I just want to do whatever I can to contribute and fit in. He's found something that he's truly good at, which is researching and posting every day something that happened on this day in World Wrestling, or he'll post a title history of somebody. He does that because he loves his business. He's very passionate about the Cauliflower Alley Club, which is extremely cool. We love the CAC. We love the people involved. I mean, Morgan, you're listening right now. I can't wait to see you in September. This show started out, with any podcast out there, there's people are going to go on there. People, I think, misuse podcasts. I have, unfortunately, been a guest on some of the most ridiculous podcasts I could possibly think of. And it's ridiculous. We have a standard, and we got our friends over at Pipe Bomb Radio. I've been a guest on there a couple of times. We got our friends over at BWF, Board Wrestling Fan Radio. Just getting over a cold, so that's why I sound like this. But we take it extremely seriously. It's not just us sitting around going, hey, we're all stuck. Yeah, it did. I could book a better show than that. I know. It's not that. That's not what we do. We have our opinions, but for the most part, we promote positive goodwill. And this isn't a show for me to get on and say, hey, I remember back in 2000 when I was riding around with so-and-so, and we drew this amount of money, and we sold this house out. I don't ever talk about anything that I did. Sometimes, this is IHWE Radio, and the last thing we talk about is IHWE. When we have legends on here to remember somebody that had passed away, or when we have members of the CAC on to talk about the upcoming honorees and the ceremonies, or when we're live in Las Vegas during the CAC and we don't have a moment to breathe because Michael's running around with Brian trying to get people on a cell phone, and I'm playing match game because I don't know who's going to get on next. Those are the things we've done. And I'm extremely proud of this show because we have done great numbers. 2,660 downloads since January 22nd. Those are great numbers. And, you know, the shows that needed to have big numbers do. We have one show that has almost 250 downloads. That's just amazing. This is for the most part, this is a garage podcast. This is me and Michael. Well, it was me and Michael for the most part with cell phones and laptops and desktops. And we started, the only promotion we had was each other. And thankfully the CAC got on board real quick because Michael had been a member for years and I just became a lifetime member and they endorsed the Hall of Fame. I'm very proud of this show. And I want to thank everybody who's ever come on this show and been a guest. I could go down the list. A few names: Kevin Von Erich. I want to thank Bill Anderson for the few times he's come on here. I want to thank Rob Schamberger. I want to thank Big Bill Anderson, Dave Meltzer, Jim Cornette, Stan Lariat Hansen, Barbara Goodish, the $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase, Connie Gordy for the 2 times he's been on here, Karen Merritt, Jerry Jarrett, Adam Pierce, Santana Garrett, Cheerleader Melissa, The Destroyer, Dan Bynum. I'm for Dusty Wolf. I'm forgetting people, but those are
Reggie
just
Park.
James Beard,
Michelle Starr,
Michelle Starr, yeah. Yeah, Andre the Giant, Bruce Hart. The list goes on and on and on. We've had an amazing guest list, and it's just going to keep growing. I believe this show serves a lot of purposes. We come on here and we have a good time. We promote positive goodwill, and we try to bring people entertaining. Our job, no matter what, unfortunately, we had to do a show a day after the passing of Warrior. And we brought you the best show we could have, considering everything everybody was going through that day. That is our job. We've brought you tribute to Terry Gordy, Bruiser Brody, Warrior. There's going to be more in the future. Michael was extremely serious about this. He works his tail off. And I know the people that are involved. I know Austin, Brian, and Joe. They're very committed to wrestling as a whole. So anything wrestling related, they're going to give everything to. So, but it has been my pleasure over the past almost 8 months to come into your homes every Wednesday, with the exception of a couple of Wednesdays. It's been my pleasure. I want to thank everybody who's ever listened, who's ever downloaded this, who's ever thought this is pure crap, but I can't stop laughing, so I'm going to keep listening. We have evolved over the 7 months as partners, and me and Michael didn't know each other very well. And we just kind of threw each other together and said, we're going to make this work. And I was determined to make it work, and it happened. But the goal was to get Michael on here and get Michael where he needed to be, where he could take this and run. Because, folks, I don't have a whole lot of time. It takes planning just to give myself 2 hours every Wednesday night free. It's just with everything going on. I'm happily married. I have a 7-month-old son. That is where my priorities are. My company is there, too. And with editing and promoting television, live events, anti-bullying, the Hall of Fame, everything, because I do things a certain way, and I won't settle for anything else. This is the way I've done things for years. So I want to thank everybody who's ever listened to this show. I want to implore everybody, it is primitive that you continuously support this show, because I think it's got a great future. It is IHWE Radio. It is a cornerstone of the brand, and we are extremely proud of everything we've done with the Southern Wrestling Hall of Fame, with radio, with television, with live events, everything. So, but Michael, I want to thank you, because you didn't know me from Joe Dirt, who I probably sound like, and I have my fair share of critics. I have my fair share of critics because I do things a certain way, and I've obtained a little bit of success. Don't like me, because anybody that is successful at anything, there's people out there that just want to bring you down. Michael put his name next to mine, and has gotten crap for it, but has been loyal because he sees my vision, and hopefully he knows that I love this business. And but like I said, I just wanted to do a podcast again, but without Michael, without the CAC, without people like Brian calling in every once in a while, without Joe calling in every once in a while, without Austin just recently coming on board and saying, hey, I'm going to do this, this, and this, without our graphic design team of Iron Skull Productions, without people promoting the show, without our guests and without our listeners, this show would mean nothing. It gets really good numbers. We take it very seriously. And I also want to thank everybody who came on here tonight, Rob Moore, Sarah Morgan, Gregory James, Americos, PSP, and Ashton Jacobs. But it has been my pleasure, my honor, and my privilege to entertain all of you for the past 7 months. I will still pop in every once in a while just to give Michael and Joe crap. I will be on to promote something because that's what I do. I'm a promoter. But I want everybody to continue listening and supporting this show because it is amazing. I think this is one of the better podcasts out there. And that's pretty much all I want to say. IHWE TV begins literally in just a few minutes. So it's been my pleasure, Michael. Thank you for putting up with me.
Man, I look forward to putting up with you every Wednesday night. You and I are still going to be talking on a regular basis because I know you're not going to let me just go off on my own with your brand. Yeah, you're still going to have a big part of this show. You're still going to be a big part of IHWE California. So I look forward to what's going to come in the future and all that. But as you said, at the top of the hour, 10 p.m. Central Standard Time, 8 p.m. here on the sunny coast of California, IHWE TV premieres. YouTube.com/IHWE2009 is the channel. You can go to IHWEnow.com. You'll find it there. You can watch it on your laptop. You can watch it on your phone, your tablet, your Roku box. I have a Roku box with a 50-inch screen. I plan on watching it. Anywhere you can get YouTube, tune in just the top of the hour, IHWE TV season premiere next week, August 6th, right here, IHWE Professional Wrestling Radio. Joe, Austin, Brian, and myself, we will bring renowned wrestling photographer Dr. Mike Lano to this show. If you've ever read Pro Wrestling Illustrated, any of the wrestling magazines out there, you've seen Mike Lano's name. The man has got stories to tell. Joe and I know him well. We are going to have a fun show next week. So on behalf of everyone on the new IHWE Radio team, Joe, Austin, Brian, the leading co-host, the man who brought this show together, the man who's leaving us tonight, David Fuller. Ladies and gentlemen, enjoy IHWE TV. Join us next week for IHWE Radio, and everyone have a good night.